Oh my gosh, my dear listener, we have made it to another month. Welcome to February and your February energy forecast. I am so excited to get into it with you today and to dive into what is going to be a very expansive and spiritually activating month for us and is going to challenge us in a lot of ways to embrace a fresh new perspective and embrace a new and unconventional way of seeing the world, living our lives, going about our day-to-day routines, and perhaps the way that we've been doing things. We now get an opportunity to challenge ourselves to see things differently and go about things in a new and unique way. So I'm excited to share with you what's coming through for what you can expect for this energetic forecast and what it will mean for you as a beautiful old soul. So welcome to the Emily the Mystic Show podcast. Whether this is your first energy update or maybe you've been listening to these now for a full year, because I've been doing these energy updates here on the podcast for a full year now. I'm so excited that you're here. Every single month, I dive into the energetic themes of what you can expect during the month ahead. You can kind of see it as your cosmic forecast for what to expect from an energetic standpoint. So how can you work with the energy and the astrology of the month ahead and use it to assist you in your growth and your soul's journey? And I channel all the information with the help of my guides through the Akashic Records. So this is information that comes forward through me and through what I've observed with taking a look at the astrology for the month ahead. It's not coming from any other source or anything else out there other than my spirit team of the highest vibration that I personally work with. And as you can see, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, by the way, if you didn't know, I also have a video version of all of my podcast episodes on YouTube, which is pretty cool, if I do say so myself. And if you're watching me here on YouTube, I'm in a new location. So I get the chance to record this episode today from my boyfriend's family's beautiful home, which I love it here. I love to get to come here. We try to get here about once a month, and it's so nice because it's like a nice little retreat in nature. It's tucked away back in the woods. So we get to spend time walking around and enjoying the property. And I just love it here so much. And as you will be able to hear from today's episode, that the month of February, because it is Aquarius season and because of the way that the energy signature is reading for me, that this month is all about doing things differently and getting out of your comfort zone a little bit and viewing things from a different lens, a different perspective. That's going to give you a whole new fresh outlook on life and a whole new maybe routine or way of doing things by the end of the month that could perhaps change things up for you. So we'll get into that more. But for me, an example of that, just right off the bat, is doing my work a little bit differently. Maybe filming a podcast episode like this while I'm on the go, while I'm traveling, trying to just be a little bit more flexible with my time and how I show up. And that really helps me see things through a different point of view and gets me a little bit out of my comfort zone, which is so helpful as an entrepreneur. So you're going to find that this month provides many opportunities for you to do that. So I can't wait to get into that with you more. But that's what you're seeing here on this video. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, no worries. But I did think that it was kind of fun to talk about it because allowing myself the opportunity to do things outside of my own comfort zone, which is filming in my office at my house in Philly, and now coming to a new place and filming here in a new location, kind of helps me to, again, work with this Aquarian, expanded, unconventional energy that is really here to stay this month. So before I dive into the forecast, I always like to give some personal updates and some business updates because I love a lot of my podcast episodes are focused on helping connect you to really cool, spiritual, mystical people in the spiritual space who have their own unique businesses. So I do a lot of mystical guest episodes here. So when I do a solo episode, I love to give you what's going on in my own life because I think it The way that I sort of filter things through my own lens is that no matter what's coming up for me, I know that it's going to be something that's coming up for my clients. It's going to be something that's coming up for you, my listener. So a lot of the themes and lessons that I go through may be things that you're going through as well. So I hope what I share on a personal level is helpful for you. In the month of December, I honestly had a very challenging month. December, and I know this is for February, so I'm going to get into January in a moment, but I had a really challenging month during the month of December. And you wouldn't have known that listening to the January update because I was kind of in the middle of it. I had a very crazy series of things happen. I fell down my stairs. I got really sick. I fell on some ice and sprained my ankle. And then I got the norovirus. So I had a stomach flu. And then I've just had like tech issues and like all sorts of crazy things that normally don't happen. For me, I'm someone who tends to just have a lot of good luck and I manifest things really easily and life feels very fluid and like very easeful in general. And I'm very optimistic and very positive. And December like took a lot out of me. It was just such an intense time. So I really had to slow things down in January and focus on getting my energy clear and work on my own personal healing and focusing on myself so that I could make sure, okay, Emily, I am getting so many signs here that I need to slow down. I need to focus on myself. I need to spend less time, doing things and spending time with other people. I need to really focus on me and like going inwards and hibernating. And because thankfully it's the winter here, it's very easy to do that. So I really, during the month of January, took that time to just focus on square one. Okay, what does my daily routine look like? How can I really break that down? How can I really start showing up? What are the projects that I feel really passionate about? Can I pour my time and energy into that? Can I focus on getting my meditation practice back in place? And if you remember from the January energy forecast, what I was telling you to do was to work with the energy to be really proactive about your routine and the way that you're approaching your day-to-day life and taking action from the place of being proactive instead of being reactive. Because when you're being proactive, it helps set you up for success because you're planning a little bit more, you're still working intuitively, but you're being a little bit more strategic about your day-to-day process and less just kind of throwing all caution to the wind and operating from a place of just kind of really being emotionally reactive, which I found myself in December. So January for me, that forecast really panned out because I have really been able to just kind of get back to me and get back to what makes me light up and get back to the things in my day that make me feel good. Because during the holiday season, we're spending so much time focusing on the gifts and the present wrapping and the traveling and the other people and the family and just so much that I really needed to focus on Emily, focus on getting myself to a really good place, focus on my vision for the new year. And wow, do I feel so much better on the other side of that. I feel like I know where I'm going. I feel like I know what I need to focus on. I feel like I have a lot of exciting things that are coming down the pipeline. And I manifested almost everything on my list so far this month. And it's the 27th. So there's still a few more days to come. But it's really exciting because I wrote down a list of things that I wanted to manifest this month ahead. And almost all of them came true by me just really taking my energy back and calling my power back and doing a heck of a lot of energy clearing, doing a heck of a lot of meditation, and just really focusing on what works for me and my process. And that has been so good. So if you haven't had the opportunity to just really focus on you and getting back into the swing of things, I hope that you did during this month ahead because that's sort of what the guidance was in December. But if you didn't have the opportunity to do that, it's so important because it helps you align with your path and your steps forward so that you don't feel like ungrounded, floating around in space. I don't know what my next steps are. Really just focusing on your priorities. And we're going to get into that with this energy update because it's going to give you some new awarenesses of what to expect during the month of February, but that's a really good place to start is, okay, if I can just really sit and focus with how my ideal best day looks like, even if I know we have jobs and we've got the kids and we've got family and we've got other people and things and needs and responsibilities that we have to tend to. But is there something that I can do to really just make sure that I am making time for myself on a daily basis? 15 minutes of meditation in the morning and a brief energy clearing, energy protection ritual at night. Okay, if I can do that, I know I'm going to feel a lot better. So therefore, that's going to help me really set myself up for success for the month ahead. So that's really what January was for me in such a big way. And it really forced me to go inwards and surrender a bit to all of these different things that were coming up in areas of healing that I hadn't tapped into yet and things that I really needed to take a look at. And it was such a big lesson in divine trust and following my intuition and following what I knew that I needed. And thankfully, I'm on the up and up. Things are just continuing to get better and better, which is exactly where I know I need to be and where I want to lead you from that place of just really mastering my own energy so that I can be a clear channel for you. So I'm ending this month on a high note, really feeling good about my success and progress and all of those things. And I hope that I can lead by example for you that things are not always going to be easy. Things are not always going to be fluid or fun or effortless. There are going to be challenges. There are going to be things that come up that are totally out of left field that you didn't expect, that you didn't see coming. Even if you're an intuitive person, there's always going to be those lessons that you didn't expect, that you didn't anticipate. But how can you work with that? How can you surrender to that? How can you move with it? For example, just a really quick example of this, and then I'm going to get into some business updates, and then we'll get into the energy forecast. One thing that I've been learning is as I've been going through some things that have been challenging, like spraining my ankle on a patch of ice or getting sick several different times, what I've really learned in that is that we need to move with instead of against. When I get anxious, for example, I am somebody that behind closed doors, I do deal with a pretty healthy amount of anxiety, as a lot of us human beings on this earth plane do. That's something I've been navigating since I was a teenager for a very long time. When I get really anxious, what makes me more anxious and leads to panic is when I resist the anxiety. But what I'm learning and what I've learned a lot over the last couple of months is that if I move with and dance with the anxiety, that I actually feel so much better because I'm like, anxiety, it's okay. Like, it's okay that you're here. So for example, when I get really anxious, I get really in my head and my immediate default response is like, let's push this away. I don't want to be anxious. I'm not anxious. I'm going to ignore this. I'm going to try to numb myself out by reading a book or watching something on YouTube to try to distract myself. Instead, what's really been working is if I allow myself to move with it. So if I'm feeling anxious, I get up and I move around and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to engage my nervous system and I'm going to move my body and I'm going to dance. And I will literally dance with the anxiety. I will become friends with it. I will let myself be in flow with it. I will let myself move with it. I feel it move through my body. Then if I were to sit and be in it and trying to use my mind to distract myself from it and ignore it and push it away, I feel so much better when I let myself surrender to it and move with it and literally move my body with it. So that's a really good example of this month, just letting yourself move with whatever's coming up instead of pushing against it or forcing it. I keep talking about this concept of moving with the flow of life and surrendering to it. The more that you can dance and be in a dance with the things that are uncomfortable, like the anxiety or the fear or the resistance, the more we can dance with it, literally, like actually getting out of your chair and dancing and being present with it, the faster you can have a breakthrough and the faster you can move through it. So I hope that example kind of helps you see, okay, the more that I can dance with the things that are making me uncomfortable this month, the more that I can open myself up to a fresh and new and expanded perspective. So with all of that being said, because I've been learning so much about trust and divine trust and surrender, and this is a big thing that I coach my private clients through, that I work on with people a lot in one-on-one sessions as well, is this concept of fully trusting in your divine source. And when I talk about trust, I see trust as this divine trinity. I see it as a 3-part energetic to work with. So when I think about divine trust and the divine definition of trust, I see it as a pyramid. So on the bottom of the pyramid, we have our trust in ourself. The fact that you are allowing yourself to trust in yourself and your ability to be who you are and be doing what you need to do and focusing on you, that's at the base of the pyramid. Then leading up on both sides of the pyramid, we have divine trust in divine source. And we also have divine trust in other people. And these 3 sides, self, other, and divine source, God, the creator, the universe, whatever word you resonate with, when we have all 3 of those levels intact, that's when life really opens up. That's when we can start to relax. That's when we can start to really dance with life. When we allow ourselves to fully trust those 3 things, self, other, divine source. And by the way, this is a lifelong journey. So this is a process that I'm continuing to expand into, that I'm continuing to learn about, that I'm continuing to move with. However, I've found some methods and some practices and some ways to use my intuition and to connect with my guides that have helped me master this so much faster, that I work with my clients with, that I feel so called to help you on this journey of divine trust. If you feel like you're moving against the flow of life and you can't understand why, or you feel like you don't know what's next for you and you want clarity around that and you want to feel purposeful, but you feel like you can't trust in what's happening on a day-to-day basis. Everything, in my opinion, especially from a manifestation perspective, links back to this concept of trust. And if you cannot trust that the work that you're doing is going to come back to you, or if you can't trust that the right connection will come around and that somebody will be able to help bring the manifestation to you, or if you can't trust that God and life itself is supporting of you, then it's going to be really hard for you to manifest anything. So with that being said, and I will dive into this more as you are taking a look at my content. You're going to see me posting about this a lot, but this is just the first little brief announcement about it. I'm going to be teaching an 8-week container, an 8-week group experience called Divine Trust. That's going to be starting at the end of February, moving through March and into the spring season, where we're going to be meeting every single week together for 8 weeks. And I'm going to be teaching you different concepts, different exercises, different ways to work with different guides who are going to help you anchor into full trust and surrender in all different areas of your life, whether that be purpose, money, relationships, love, friendships, any kind of relationship that you have with other people, as well as trusting in yourself and, of course, trusting in Source and your spirit team to help you. And all of this, again, links so intimately with manifestation. And I feel like no one out there is teaching this or teaching it from this perspective, when trust is such like the integral part of all of it. Like when we trust in our partner, the relationship explodes tenfold. When we trust in money, money always comes back to us. When we trust that we're always supported by life and God, then things flow so effortlessly because you always know that you're on the right path. So the more that you can anchor into this, and I've been initiated in this over the last couple of months with all of the crazy things that I've been going through, the more that I can trust that there is a divine reason why I sprained my ankle on Christmas Eve, the more I can trust that I know that it's unfolding for me exactly as I need it to, and that it leads me to the perfect people that are going to help me heal the injury, and it's going to lead me to just a whole series of things that I didn't even know that I needed, but that help me understand how life is opening up for me. That's what this container is all about. So divine trust, I will leave the information in the show notes. It's going to be a really cool experience because a lot of it is going to be live channeled, and a lot of it is going to be nervous system tools and techniques and energy tools and techniques to really master and understand this concept of trust while I'm holding the space for the container as you learn to trust in me to be your guide and your mentor through the process. It's going to be unlike anything else. So I'm so excited about that. So I'll leave the link in the caption in the show notes for you to check out. So that's one thing I've been working on. Another thing I'm working on is more starseed focused content. So I've been working really hard behind the scenes on this incredible starseed quiz where I've identified 9 different starseed archetypes that basically give an energetic profile, characteristics, and traits, as well as an overall mission and purpose, lessons, and challenges, depending on your unique starseed connections. So the quiz is completely free and links to a really awesome YouTube video that I've made that I take the information into more detail so that you can learn more about who you are, again, at this beautiful starseed archetype level, which I find to be really invaluable information because if you understand what you're made out of, what kind of stardust you're made out of, then you understand how you're created and crafted and built and why you're learning what you're learning and why your life is the way that it is. And it gives you this expanded potential and this expanded awareness of your unique path forward based on who you are and based on your galactic and cosmic connections and origins. And if this information is new for you, I'm going to be teaching a galactic history class on February 12th. So if you're listening to this before, amazing, you can join me live. If you're listening to this after, no worries, you can still get a link to the replay. We're going to be connecting together on February 12th and in the evening hours at 6 p.m. Eastern. And you're going to be learning everything that I know about galactic history since the beginning of source consciousness to who we are today as human beings, as well as the different major galactic groups and connections that have created this Milky Way galaxy experience that we are all a part of and that we are all learning from. So that expanded starseed awareness can also be so helpful in so many different ways. So I will leave the information in the link for that training in the show notes as well for you to check that out. So now we're going to get into the forecast for February. And then towards the end of this, I'm going to be giving you a personal forecast from some different members of my own spirit team. So stay tuned for that because those messages are going to be really fun and interesting. So I hope you keep listening. So let's get into the update for February. So we're in the midst of Aquarius season now as you're listening to this episode. And as I'm recording this, it is January 27th. So we are heading in just a few days into the Aquarius new moon, as well as the Lunar New Year. So when you're listening to this episode, the Lunar New Year will have already started, which is based on the Chinese zodiac, which I find really fascinating because it just gives us, again, a new lens to look at life and the world and information. And so we're heading with the change in the lunar cycle. We are heading into the year of the wood snake. So if you're familiar with the Chinese zodiac, there are 12 different animals in the Chinese zodiac. So we go through the same animal cycle every 12 years. What's really interesting that I didn't know, and I had to do some research about this, is that there are also 5 Chinese elements. And those elements get applied to the animal cycle. And there are a total of 60 different cycles into the Chinese zodiac that combine the animal with the element. So we're working with the energy of the snake, and we're also working with the energy of wood. So with that being said, wood is an element, is a bit more slow moving. It's a bit more reliable. It's a bit more stable and practical and responsible. And so when we think of the energy of the snake, we think of the divine feminine. We think of transformation. We think of rebirth, because the snake sheds its skin, literally, and becomes a whole new version of itself. So when we think of the wood snake, we think of this year of intuition, and we think of this year of transformation and change, but in a very strategic, in a very awareness focused, in a very sort of slow and deliberate way. So this is going to be a really great year for finding the ability to shed old layers and old versions of yourself while being open to doing things differently and connecting with your own internal wisdom in the way that you uniquely want to be able to move forward. And it requires a lot of balance. So we're not just shedding old versions of ourselves because it's happening so quick and rapidly and there's like nothing we can do about it. We're shedding these old versions of ourselves because we know that we need change and we're very aware of it. There's like a higher level of consciousness. So with that being said, this is going to be a year in general as we look towards the next year of lunar cycles where we're really embracing the power of the individual and the power of our expanded conscious awareness and expanded higher perspective for that change that we know that we need to go through. So there's going to be a massive amount of growth personally and collectively. And I feel like as a collective consciousness, we're going to be more aware of things than ever before and questioning more things than we ever have before. And personally, I feel like this year that's going to lead to, in general, a lot of unrest and a lot of containers here in our society, especially here in the United States where I live. I feel like the changing political climate, I feel like the changing circumstances in our economy, the changing way that people are working and living and making money. I feel like people are noticing that the rising prices of things and the rising lack of jobs in our economy, and companies also wanting people to go back to work in full-time in person, and healthcare companies, giving us a ton of runaround for just getting routine services. And I just feel like our collective is not standing for some of the ridiculous things that we have going here, especially in the United States. I feel like we're going to see a lot of push for change and push for things to transform. And I feel like that's going to be happening also on an individual level. We're going to become more aware how we are all uniquely part of this process and part of the whole, but we're going to individually feel that unrest and that need for change and that need for things to be different, that we're going to push ourselves out of our comfort zone a little bit more, that we're actually going to do things differently, and that we're no longer going to do things the same way that we've always done them. So we're going to really start to see that unfolding this month. So one of the big things that I want you to be aware of for yourself is how you can reflect on your role in the collective and what, in terms of your individual path, how can you, first of all, be more aware and more conscious of your expanded growth and potential? And how can you, in order to activate a new energy within yourself, because you're feeling uncomfortable, you're getting frustrated that things aren't changing at a collective level. So you're feeling like this this unrest unfolding amongst many people. And you're like, okay, I feel this, I sense this, and I see, you know what, I'm no longer going to stand for this in my workplace, or I'm no longer going to put up with this in my relationship, or I'm no longer going to allow for this in terms of the way that I'm managing my money, that I'm going to do things differently, and I'm going to push for change, and I'm going to push for transformation in my unique area of life and my neck of the woods and my community, again, in my places and spaces where I live my life. I can see that the old way of doing things is not working. And therefore, I'm going to see it from a higher perspective, an expanded perspective of, okay, this is happening for a reason. Like, I'm being shown that this isn't working because there needs to be something different. Things need to be done differently. And I feel like because of social media, we spend so much time looking at what everybody else is doing and how they're running their life, how they're doing their routine, how they're, building their business, or how they have found a career that works for them, or how they're being a mom and leading their family. And we're looking at all these people outside of ourselves and we're saying, oh, I should just do it the way that they're doing it because it's working for them. Or I should just do it the way that Emily's doing it because it's working for Emily. No, it's time to start being aware of, okay, I feel this sense of collective unrest and injustice and this uncomfortable feeling that things need to be different. So what am I going to do? I'm going to move with that energy. Like we were saying before, it's a dance. I'm going to start to move with that energy, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm done with the fact that this staying the way in the same place I've always done things is uncomfortable. So I'm now going to do things differently. And maybe it's a way that I've never done it before. And maybe it's a way that, no one else has ever done it before, but I feel like I need to do it this way. So I'm going to try it. And it's sort of like this energy of like, fuck it. Like, I'm just gonna give it a go. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to try to do things differently. Like, maybe I've been searching for jobs the same way for months and it's not working, and I'm really frustrated and I'm really annoyed about it. So I'm going to start talking about it on social media and how messed up the job market is. And then I'm going to like connect with people who feel the same way, and we're going to start a community, and that's going to help me create something new and different around this unrest, this sort of discomfort, this sort of like I'm desperate for change sort of energy. And it's going to kind of force us out of our comfort zones again to do things differently. So it's interesting because we're going to see some things happen on a collective level this month in February that are going to provoke within us a desire to seek change. And I'm not saying that those events are going to be easy. I don't know what those events are, but from some of the cards that I pulled and from what the guides were telling me, they're just showing me that there are going to be things that happen this month that are going to be challenging to see and challenging to face and uncomfortable. But internally, it's forcing us to change. It's forcing us to do things differently. It's kind of pushing us out of our comfort zone and showing us that we can't do things the same way that we've always done. And I know that we felt this way at the beginning of 2020. That's the thing. This energy feels so similar. And that's what you're picking up on, because it does feel similar to the way things felt in 2020. Things did feel really uncomfortable, and people felt really kind of frustrated with the way that they were going to work, 9 to 5, and it was exhausting, and their 9 to 5 job was actually 7 to 7 job. And so they were working all these crazy hours and like really frustrated. And then all of a sudden the pandemic happens, and it forces people to slow down and be at home and to live life in a different way and surrender to it. So we saw people really change their lives because of that, and new businesses were built, and new things were built, new structures were built, and all of these different things happened. And I feel like we're on the edge of something similar. I'm not, of course, it's not going to be another pandemic. It's going to be something different, but we're on the edge of like, I feel like the collective bubble is about to burst, and we're all individually going to be seeking change. We're going to be seeking to release this repressed energy. We feel suppressed and repressed, and we feel like we're kind of in this cage and we feel stuck. I feel like it's going to push us to do things differently and to try things differently and to be aware of our individual role, but be aware of the systems that we live in that no longer work and that no longer support us, and push out of that and fight for change and fight for something new. And by the way, too, I didn't even address the fires that happened in California at the beginning of this month. I mean, what a tragedy. What a horrible, horrible thing to see Mother Earth going through this intense sort of, oh my gosh, these intense weather events that are happening on our planet. So if you were personally affected by that, or you know someone who was, my heart goes out to you, and I send you a team of angelic support and protection to help you navigate that. But because you've been through that, it's going to force you to do things differently. It's going to force you to move or to change the way that you've lived your life, or maybe you're going to become more nomadic, or maybe you're going to, fight for some sort of climate support or Mother Earth support, or some sort of local program, or you're going to get pulled into some project or program that's going to help other people and is going to be of service. So again, I want you to be aware that we're sort of on the edge of this transformation, and it's going to feel a little irritating. We're going to feel a little on edge, and you may sense that as the beginning of the month starts, because the guides were telling me the first couple of weeks of February are going to feel a little slow. And then we're going to start to see things unfold, and we're going to start to become aware of this unexpected sort of change, this unexpected awareness of, oh gosh, this is really not working. Like, I need to do things differently. I need to show up differently. I need to show up in my relationships differently. I need to dance to the beat of my own drum and try things uniquely in a way that maybe no one else has done it before. That's sort of what this age of Aquarius that we're moving into is all about. With the planet Pluto, the planet of transformation in the sign of Aquarius, it being the sun in Aquarius, it's Aquarius season, this new moon in Aquarius that's opening us up to this expanded potential, and this new zodiac cycle, this new Chinese zodiac cycle that we're moving into. It's really forcing us to follow our own individual intuition and, maybe that weird way of doing things actually could work. And maybe I have this really strange business idea, but I'm so passionate about it and it's really lighting me up. And maybe I want to follow that. And maybe I want to do that. And maybe I want to do things in a different way than I've ever done before. And how can you start doing that? I don't want this to sound like, oh my gosh, I have to, make all of these massive changes during the month of February. Absolutely not. It's not what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel, again, you're going to feel this sort of inner sense of change coming. So how can we prepare for that? We can start getting comfortable with change by doing little things that force us to think differently. So on a daily basis, that could be as simple as maybe you go to the same coffee shop every single day. Well, why don't you try the brand new shop that opened a few blocks from you that you've never been to before, and just give it a try and see what it's like? Or maybe you want to buy tickets to an event or an experience that you've never been to before that's totally out of your comfort zone. But you go and it opens up your eyes to a whole new way of doing things and other people and the way other people are living their lives. And you're like, this is interesting. I can really kind of integrate this and apply this in my own life in a unique way. Or maybe you always read nonfiction books and you're seeing all of these posts about epic fantasy books, and you've never really been drawn to fantasy, but you feel drawn to read a fantasy book, so you give it a try. I'm saying starting in small ways, doing things that don't make sense logically, but that intuitively you're like, oh yeah, this is weird. I don't know why I want to go to the chiropractor that's 15 minutes away from me, but the one that's 5 minutes away isn't working. So I'm going to try this new one that I've never been to before and see what happens. That's what this vibe is all about. It's really unexpected. So the guides were also saying too, to be open to how this could unfold in terms of your relationships as well. They're showing me that you're going to be connecting with people who may be a little bit out of your comfort zone, but who have a similar outlook or a similar vision or a similar desire that you do, so that you're like, oh, I never thought about this, but maybe I could collaborate and co-host this workshop with this person in a totally different industry. But even though we're in different industries, it makes sense. And it would actually be a really cool business idea, a really cool opportunity. Or maybe you are trying to find somebody to help and support your household, and you're like, oh, I wish there was a spiritual person who does house cleaning, and you had never thought of that before. So you look it up, and oh my gosh, yes, there's someone in your area that is very energy focused and does cleaning of the house from a very spiritual perspective. So you're going to be meeting people that do things differently and that help you expand your awareness and your perspective to find common ground. And so we may see a lot of division and polarity and energy splitting and people getting pulled on different sides this month. But with that, you may find common ground with people that you did not expect. So you may find new friends or new connections or new relationships that kind of encourage you to come together and to find a sense of shared community, or like, we've all been through this, so it makes sense for us to really come together and move forward together and heal together. So there's this sense of like collective things that happen, but that end up bringing us together. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that pans out. But they also want you to expect that if you're feeling stuck in your relationships, there may be some relationships that you've outgrown that you gracefully need to move on from, or let fade away, or not kind of reach out to that person, or, make contact with that person, just kind of let those relationships fade away. And there may be new relationships that come in that are unexpected, but that end up being not what you wanted, but exactly what you needed. And you may see that in your current relationships as well too, where you feel like, oh my gosh, this isn't working in my partnership, but I'm going to try something differently. Maybe we've never gone to counseling, so we're going to seek counseling, and counseling ends up being exactly what you needed because it's something that you had never thought to try before. Or even something that's like totally different. Like, again, think outside of the box, think crazy, think totally like interesting and different. A really good, funny example of this is over this past weekend, my partner and I felt really drawn to go to the tattoo convention here in Philly. And I don't have any tattoos. He doesn't have any tattoos. We are not involved in that culture and that community at all. And it's just not something that, we've ever done. And by the way, I admire tattoos on other people. I freaking love tattoos on other people, but I've just never gotten one myself. So we're like, let's go to the tattoo convention. This sounds super cool and interesting. And sure enough, it opened my eyes and my awareness to like, oh my gosh, like there's so many people who are tattoo business owners, and the way that they run their businesses and the way that they do their scheduling and the way that they kind of advertise themselves and their marketing and their brand aesthetic gave me a lot of unique takeaways and perspectives as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. So again, like, how can you get out of your comfort zone, see things differently, try things differently, and be like, fuck it, I'm just going to give this a try. Like, I've got nothing to lose. Like, let's see what happens. So don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to be wild and unconventional and dance to the beat of your own drum. And if you find that you're kind of falling into the rabbit hole of following other people too much and watching what they're doing, take your power back. Stop spending so much time on social media. Listen to what is that unique pull that I feel? What is that interesting, strange thing that I feel guided to do? And it may not be strange. It may be something that you've done before in the past, but you are reconnecting with it again. Like, for example, for me, I've been an artist for my whole life. I was a painter in high school, and I thought about going to art school, and that didn't pan out because I wanted to pursue business. So instead of choosing a graphic design degree, which was something I wanted to do, I decided to go to business school. And now as an adult, I'm coming back into my painting again. I'm getting back into that again, and it feels really good, and it's really inspirational, and it's really lighting me up. So how can you, and painting, part of an entrepreneurship day, I should be put that in quotes, I should be focusing on business and growth and, putting myself in the right circles and creating more content and all these things that the business gurus out there would tell you to do. But no, what's been really expansive and healing for me is doing art again as part of my day-to-day routine. So that is just an example of I'm helping expand you to see things differently, do things differently. That's what this age of Aquarius is all about. And that's what February is setting us up for. I'm on a journey this year to remaster my health and feel my absolute best while having consistent high energy levels. And so I decided to get some labs to test to see how my hormones were looking, as well as to check for any imbalances within my body. And so I decided to get lab work done through an incredible company called Joy Wellness. That's spelled J-O-I Wellness. And you can get your lab work done through this amazing company while also getting a unique supplement regimen just for you to support your health. They also provide a variety of different wellness options and health coaching for helping you get your energy levels back and feel your best. So if you want to do high vibrational lab work like I did, you can use code Emily the Mystic at checkout to get your labs at a discounted rate. By the way, March is going to be a really crazy month. There are so many things happening in March. We have a Venus retrograde, we have eclipse season, we have Neptune changing signs, we have Mercury retrograde. That's a lot happening all at once. If you know astrology, you know that's a lot happening all at once. So while things start to get crazy and out there and different, let's set you up for success by thinking differently, taking a different path, adding in something unique and novel into your day-to-day routine, maybe into your weekend. Again, it doesn't have to be crazy, hard, or expensive. It can just be simple shifts that encourage you to do things differently than the way you've always done. Maybe it's just working in a different part of your home, or maybe it's taking a different route to work, or maybe it's doing something as a parent that may be unique and different. Again, little things that you can do that are going to just totally change your outlook and totally change the way that you approach life. That's what this month is all about. So I'm excited for it because it's going to be different and it's going to be interesting and it's going to bring about more connection. So with separation, with, again, polarity and division and this sort of collective unrest energy that we may feel, see, or sense, how can that actually push you closer to someone? Or how can it actually help you connect with someone? How can it help you create and forge a new friendship or a new bond or a new alliance or a new relationship? Again, the discomfort brings about a connection and a shared perspective and a shared outlook that, again, you may have never seen coming. Again, this is just so different and unusual and unconventional. So I want you to be open to that. And the way we can get open to that is by making changes in small ways that inspire you to do things differently. So, interesting. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see how it pans out. I hope this resonated with you. And I wanted to end the episode today by giving you a little personal energy update message. This is something new, same but new. So we're doing things again a little bit differently here. I've been pulling a card towards the end of the episode to give you an energy message for what you need to know for your month ahead. And it just so happens that I don't have the cards with me that I wanted to use because, again, I'm traveling. So we're going to do things differently. And I'm going to have you, if you've been listening to these episodes, you'll know what I'm talking about here. If you're new here, I'll explain it. So I'm going to have you intuitively pick a color. I'm going to give you 4 different colors. I'm going to have you pick one. And then based on that color, I'm going to give you a spirit guide and I'm going to give you a message that goes along with that color. So each color is corresponding with a spirit guide that stepped forward to assist you during the month of February and a message. So for those of you who work with spirit guides, when you get the spirit guide that I'm about to tell you, this may be someone that you want to connect with, meditate with, call them forward, do research on them, Google them, get to know them better. I'm only going to tell you a little bit of background on them because I also want you to get to know them in your own way. If you don't work with spirit guides, that's okay. Just know that this guide is supporting you with your life and what's happening and unfolding for you during the month of February. So know that you don't have to do anything. By saying yes to receiving your message, you've consented to them working with you, the highest vibration of this guide. So, okay, let's do it. I'm going to give you 4 colors. You're going to pick your color intuitively, and then I'll go through each one. I'm going to share the spirit guide associated with it, and then I'm going to tune in and channel a message for you. So let's do it. Okay, so the 4 colors are yellow, pink, purple, and green. I'm going to say those again. I want you to follow your intuition and pick the one that resonates the most with you right now. Yellow, pink, purple, green. Okay, so we're going to get started here. Let's start with yellow. So if you selected the color yellow, just pulling up my notes here. Okay, so let's start with the color yellow. If you selected the color yellow, your spirit guide of the month is Freya. Freya is, I love working with her energy. She is the Norse goddess of love, beauty, magic, fertility, and also war. So she's an interesting spirit guide because she's got kind of 2 different dynamics to her. She's got this beautiful, loving, heart-centered energy, and she also has this very fierce, protective, warrior goddess energy. So you may resonate with one aspect of her more than the other, but she is really associated with Norse magic and also being the leader of the Valkyries, who are a group of warriors in the Nordic tradition. So Freya. I'm going to ask her for a message for you. She's saying, "Be still, my child. Things right now feel uncomfortable, and you may feel a sense of lack or unease in your life, like things are not happening the way that you wanted them to, like things feel slow, or that they have not panned out in the way that you were expecting. This is an opportunity for you to open your mind that just because something hasn't happened yet or hasn't unfolded in the way that you wanted it to, doesn't mean that you're not manifesting something really amazing for yourself. In fact, it means that the outcome that you wanted is not in alignment because it's actually not good enough for you. And by that, I mean something better is on the way. So just because the outcome that you've been desiring hasn't unfolded in your life yet, it actually means that something new and different and better than you could have imagined for yourself is coming and is available. And so I want you to rethink your vision. I want you to expand your vision, and I want you to think bigger. You are playing small and you are holding yourself back, and you are putting yourself in places and with people who make you feel small, who doubt you, who create a lack of trust in yourself. And so therefore, you continue to manifest the same outcome and the same way of being because you're playing small and you're only seeing things through a limited lens. So for you, your message is one of expansion. It's time to see above and beyond what you thought was possible and be open to something even better, to dream bigger, to have an even bigger vision, to play as big as you possibly can, because that's who you came here to be and that's what you came here to do. So no more limiting yourself and no more limiting your worth and your concept of reality. Anything that you dream is possible. So allow yourself to believe in your bigger dreams. The bigger you can imagine, the bigger you can create, the more you align with your highest potential. And the more that those action steps that you need to take unfold exactly as they need to, because you're thinking differently. So be open to playing big. It's time to stop playing small. With love, Freya. My gosh, I love that. You can see I channeled that with my eyes closed. So I was not reading notes from that. So thank you, Freya, for coming forward with that message. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that resonated with you if you chose yellow. If you chose pink, your spirit guide for the month is Mary Magdalene. So Mary Magdalene is typically associated with Christianity and with Jesus. She, in the Christian traditions, is known to be a devout follower of Jesus, although you and I know, as spiritually expanded people, that she was not just a follower, but a divine channel for Christ consciousness, and is such a powerful guide representing divine feminine wisdom and leadership. So, Mary Magdalene, what message do you have today? Creativity is your key to success. By embracing a creative mindset and a creative approach and outlook on life, the more that you see things unfold. I'm encouraging you to get creative. The way that you are approaching your reality is a very traditional black and white way. And I want you to start being aware that a creative, artistic, and unusual approach to your path is going to lead to unparalleled success. And by getting creative, I mean unlocking your sacral energy, connecting with your sacral chakra, connecting with that channel of pleasure and creative expression. When you're connecting with your sacral energy, you are connecting with your body and you are connecting with what lights your body up. When you operate from that creative sacral energy, you feel things flow more naturally. And in doing so, it helps unlock new neural pathways in the brain that are going to create success because you're no longer limiting yourself or holding yourself back. So the key for you is to first begin with connecting with your body, connecting with your sacral chakra, allowing your sacral chakra to show you what you love and what you love to do and what lights you up, what your body says yes to. This is being creative because it taps into a unique essence within yourself that is unlike anyone else out there on this planet at this time. So by channeling your creative energy, by opening yourself up to creative expression, and this could be through art, this could be through dance, this could be through music, this could be through food, this could be through sound, this could be through travel, this could be through connections, collaboration. There's so many ways that you can be creative, but it all starts with connecting with your sacral energy and that essence of your unique creative expression. That's what's going to help you so much this month in finding the path that is meant for you. Beautiful. Thank you, Mary Magdalene, for that message. That was super powerful. I love that so much. Okay. And if you chose purple, your guide of the month is Isis. So here's what we need to know about Isis. Isis is an Egyptian goddess of magic, motherhood, and healing. She is associated with being this sort of fierce, powerful leader, protector, but also nurturer and lover. And she is depicted in Egyptian mythology with resurrecting her husband Osiris and nurturing their son Horus. So she is someone who unlocks this really deep level of connection to magic and your intuitive powers in the third eye. So let's see what Goddess Isis has to say. Beware, my dear child, that there are people in your life who do not have your highest and best interests at heart. There are people who would rather that you stay small and who would rather that you do not succeed because they have jealousy of your unique gifts and your inherent power. You are such a powerful creatrix. You have the ability to lead others in new and remarkable ways and lead others to finding their own success and their own empowerment from within. But there are people in your life that would rather you stay quiet, that would rather you stay silent. And it is up to you to, first of all, release people from your life that are a negative influence. Next of all, to hide and hold back the projects and things in your life that are precious to you so that they do not see the light of prying eyes. And also to speak to the communities and people who are meant for you, because it is also important that you trust in the right people to help you and to support you. But there are people that are snakes in your field that would rather hold you back. And it's time that you break yourself free from the chains of the prison that they put around themselves. For these people do not know how to live life differently. They do not know how to be empowered. So they would rather hold you back out of their own fear, out of their own lack, out of their own comfort and security. But my child, I encourage you to release yourself from those relationships, to set boundaries with those people, and to become aware of who the people are in your life that do want to see you succeed, because you are a remarkable child of God. And you have so much within you, so much magic and potential and untapped potential, that when you clear yourself of these people and you say goodbye to them, you are only going to see yourself go up and up and up. So it is just a matter of releasing the snakes from the field in your life, saying goodbye to them or limiting their access to you, setting boundaries with them so that you can focus on what's right in front of you, which is your path, your purpose, what you love and what you love to do. And in freeing yourself from those relationship chains, life will only be more supportive and filled with more joy. And if you're unclear of who these people are, we set the intention now that they show you who they really are. So you will start to see the behavior of people in your life be real and be authentic so that you can make a choice of whether or not you wish to keep them in your life. So watch out for the signs, watch out for the way that people respond and react towards you, watch out for the fear of others, and let yourself follow your own unique intuition and not be held back by the limitations and glass ceilings that others put around you. Thank you. Ooh, beautiful. Thank you, Isis, for that powerful message. That was so helpful. Very interesting. Love that. And finally, if you chose the color green, your goddess of the month, your spirit guide of the month is Morgan Le Fay. Morgan Le Fay is a powerful enchantress connected with the legend of Arthur and Avalon and the magical mystical isles of Avalon here on planet Earth. So she embodies magic and mystery and transformation and is a healer. So Morgan Le Fay, I'm going to connect with you and invite you to share a message with the listener, whatever they need to hear. Your magic is your unique gift. There is, unlike anyone on this planet, unlike you. You are so unique and creative and special and different, and you are magical in your own birthright. Magic is your birthright, and it is time to start seeing your inherent and unique magic, because that is the key to unlocking all of the success and money that you desire. Abundance is your birthright. And the more that you connect with your magic and what makes you magical, the more you start being a leader for magic in your communities and in your life. It is important that you start seeing yourself as a magical being. When you see yourself as a magical being, you see yourself as worthy and deserving of magic, and worthy and deserving of abundance, and worthy and deserving of success. And the more that you connect with this magical ability to create and to collaborate and to be a magician and to be a manifester in your own way, through your own lens, through your own eyes, the more that you encourage others to do the same, and the more that you attract abundance and magic and miracles as a result. But it starts by witnessing and recognizing your own magic first and what makes you magical. What are other people drawn to you for? What do other people just feel magnetized to you for? What unique gifts and talents and wisdom and energies do you share? The more you allow yourself to focus on that, the more it expands, and the more you act like your true self. And the more that you act like your true self, your magic is a magnet for abundance and success and the right connections and relationships and opportunities and people and everything that you need. It all comes from recognizing and owning your inherent magic. So magic is your word for the month. Let yourself embrace it. Let yourself live with it. Let yourself dance with it. Magic is exactly what you need to recognize your own true untapped potential. Whew, beautiful, amazing. Thank you. Love those messages. Oh, that was so powerful. So thank you to all of the guides who stepped forward to share those messages today. Oh, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was definitely a powerful one, definitely a little bit of a long one, but thank you for staying to the end if you are still here. So again, I will invite you to check out the links in the show notes for all of the different offerings that I mentioned, including the Divine Trust Mentorship, the Starseed Quiz, as well as the upcoming Galactic History class that's happening on February 12th. So I hope to see you there. Keep shining your light. Remember to dance to the beat of your own drum. Remember to embrace your most authentic self and think outside of the box. It's going to lead you to something really cool and different this month. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you soon. Sending love. The portal is now closed.